All right. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are, or evening, night. It can be anything really. Today we are going to follow up on our logging roadmap, this time with an explicit request from some paying customers to go towards one item in this issue here, which is to add more structure to the events for access to audited tables, and as well add a variant of this to make the event for SQL query logs also structured. So the first task for the day will be to file an issue for this and describe exactly what is desired. All right. So all right. So the description of the issue is there is a way to log SQL queries that pertain to particular tables, or queries that are too slow, or maybe just all queries executed depending on some configuration flag in a log file. Today, the log format, as we will see in a second, is not structured, meaning that it is not easy, nor in some cases possible, to automatically parse the entries in that log file. And since we recently added support for structured entries in log files using the JSON format, for example, we have here a request from a customer to upgrade the entries written to those log files to use the a structured format instead. There is an additional request we'll see in a second, which is to try to preserve backward compatibility to some extent. We'll see that in a second. And then some additional effort should be paid to error handling, as the text of the error message could be sensitive, and we don't want that to be included unconditionally. All right, so what I'm seeing also is that the width of the web browser is not fitting the stream output, so let's fix this. So this is a giant pair of eyes, and this is helping us to set a browser size. I hope this works better. Cool. All right, so this is our new issue, and we file this. Then we can add this issue number as an item here, and query logs. Cool. So that's what we're going to do today. And now we go to this window here, and we are going to check that this is properly added. Properly added as a at the bottom of the screen. How do you do this again? With a copy paste. All right, set C. So what was the issue number again? This one. Here we go. And then copy paste the remainder. This is extremely manual. I'm doing this every time. It's been already 4 times I'm doing this. So here is the issue number at the bottom of the screen. I should really automate this setting of the status in Tmax. Unfortunately, I actually don't know how to do this. So maybe someday. Anyway, so we are going to use a previous PR that had been started a little while ago. That is still open, and we're going to extend it. The previous PR was an attempt we did on stream a couple weeks ago that was not really driven by any demand. And then later someone came up and said, well, actually, we really want this. So what was this? Structured, maybe? No. Audit. My gosh, my gosh, my gosh. So we have a PR here that we don't care about. Let's see. It was from 3 or 4 weeks ago. So let's see what we have here. Nope. And Docker. Deflate. Well, it doesn't look like we have actually a change here. What's going on? There was a PR and maybe it was closed. Oh. Let's see. Nope. Closed. All right. Well, if it is not available, we might have to maybe search for the branch. All right. All right. So not this one. Maybe one of these. Audit events. And audit events 2. I like that. I like this name. Oops. Yes. This looks like it. This one maybe? Yeah. All right. So there was I see. So the PR was already was open with 2 different commits, and after the first one was committed, I reduced the scope of the PR. I think it doesn't look like it, so we'll see. Anyway, so that was actually the commit we're looking for. This thing here. So we want this branch, and we're going to start as usual by rebasing it. It's going to probably have a merge conflict, which is fine. Yeah, this is generated code, we don't mind. And there is a make file merge conflict, which might be fine too, depending on the scope. Yeah, look at this. So we keep this, and off we go. All right, let's build. which will hopefully regenerate the files and get rid of our builder. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Event PB, events, audit log. So we make a change to the file to force a regeneration of the derived code. Cool. So that did the trick, I believe. So this file here will be probably regenerated. This is regenerated as well. This is as well regenerated. Probably this file would benefit from being split in multiple, but it's okay. We'll see later. All right. All right. So the rebase succeeded. We are not typing in the commit message yet. We'll see in a second. And now we are going to review the change that we made so far. Okay, so there was some documentation change here. In the comment at the start of this file, which we are going to visit in a second, and there is some discussion about data missing, and then there is really a new event here for auditing. All right, so we are looking at this file here. And this currently has this argument here to log with a structured event instead of the previous format that we had before. So there is a request coming from the team. Either it was on a PR or somewhere else, I don't recall, to preserve the previous logging format as an option. So we are going to have this code here remaining as it was before. And we are going to split the logging in two different functions here. All right. Log execute enabled. So this goes at the beginning here. And then we are going to check what comes afterwards as a separate instruction. So we are going to check. Okay, so we don't want to compute this string here unless we are logging with the legacy format. So, all right, so there are multiple things we need to do here. One is to make two logging formats side by side for these events here, so that we preserve the previous code as an opt-out of the new format for people who care about the existing format. So let's write down those steps. To do dot SQL events. So add an opt-out flag, or maybe cluster setting. I don't know. We'll see in a second which one we want. Then we are going to capture or encapsulate all the current logging to file code that performs into a function, defines a new structured logging in a separate function, and then choose which function to call based on configuration. We could even do something a bit more clever in a second. So there are really two options. Either we can keep the existing code in a function like described above, or what we can do is have just one function in SQL and enhance the logging code with an ability to convert these structured entries to a flat format. So I think the second option is better because the configurability that comes with this is easier to work with, because configuring formats in the logging code is easier than configuring logging format in the SQL code. We probably don't like a cluster setting for this. We'll come back to this in a minute. So I think that it's worthwhile starting with this anyway, because the first approach is lighter weight. And so if that succeeds, we can then explore the alternative approach as an extension of the first approach. It's easier to remove codes than to create codes that doesn't exist yet. So that is what we are going to try. That does mean so that the approach we took a little while ago, that is already here in this branch, needs to be extracted in a separate function. Like all the code that's here needs to be moved somewhere else. So we're going to get there in a second. Cool. All right, so the piece of code that is here, we want to extract in a separate function, but it's interleaved with some stuff here that we don't want to extract. Although probably this one we are going to extract. This one here is not so clear. Maybe it is. We'll get there in a minute. Then there is a label. And then the question is, the log trigger here, is that something that is used here? It's not. So we can actually move this definition to below. Where is the log? Is log trigger? Log trigger is used in multiple places. So we are going to have this here. That is particularly interesting. So we're going to come this logic back in a minute, actually. I think that this was mistakenly designed. So we'll see that in a minute. Cool. And now we are going to explain. Slow query log enabled. Interesting. Is a slow query log somewhere? We'll see that in a minute. Okay. We'll we'll come back in to this configuration in some time. So this is a shortcut. Okay. Oh, interesting. So there is some kind of age parameters that is different from the query duration. Oh, okay. Age is the duration expressed in seconds. Cool. The text of the query error if the query did in fact end in right. It's a type of execution context. Execute, prepare. Now, what is the audit event which caused the entry to be logged? So this logging is only going to be, so this trigger is probably only going to be reported for the case where a statement is logged for auditing reasons. And that means we might not need that in any case. So log trigger could be included in log v. So log v is an event log, and I am not comfortable in skipping this, but we'll see that in a second. So this is a new. All right, so there's some code moved here. Cool. All right. We'll see. Okay. All right. So we're getting there. So all this here is indicated. So there is a slow query log reason. So what would that mean? So it's a full table scan, full secondary index scan, and separator is a space, and these are separated by brackets, and then there is a brace. Yeah, this condition should really be structured instead of being a string. So probably we will revisit that in a little while. And then we have this logger here, and those things here. So all this code that we see here. So this needs to be moved in a different function. Oof. We'll see what this function is doing a bit later. Cool. So all the code that we are seeing here needs to be reported. Do we want to report the log trigger? No, we don't want this. So we're going to remove the log trigger here. Upname log trigger. It's going to be like this for backward compatibility. Oh, so no backward compatibility for v event f, but we can have it here. Oh no, sensitive access, we keep it because that's where we need it. So we are going to keep this. Ta-dam. And then like this. And then this. And then the log trigger here can be removed. And the log trigger here can be removed. So what we're doing here is that we're removing the dependencies on a variable that is only computed for auditing events. This way, bit by bit, we are chipping away at the necessity of computing this string whenever we don't need to log a table audit event. So that's what's happening here. So that means that we don't need this. And now we have progress. So as a placeholder strings, it's an interesting one. What does this do? Query arguments gives us space, comma delimited, and then there are placeholder index colon the value, and the value is done with just a string call, and it's included between double quotes. So I suppose that this will remain, but only if we use the legacy format. And we need now to extract this into a different function. It's going to be called from here. Maybe we can have a condition here. If legacy logging format, and then we have this with all this here. Else this entire branch exists for the sake of backwards compatibility with log parsers for version 2.2 and prior. This format is obsolete, and so this branch can be removed in version 2.1.2. Cool. So what is legacy logging format defined as? And we will want to have this maybe as a cluster setting, maybe not. So I'm going to say const legacy format is false. Cool. And now here we can include our bit of code from earlier. This, like this, poof. All right. All right, so we have a logging event here. Oh, that's interesting. So log events here already has the ability to stringify the statement being executed. So we don't need to redo it here. I think that is incorrect. So let's try compiling this, see what it says. This builds, no problem. All right. So we don't have the placeholders here, but we are going to introduce this option. Cool. All right. So the placeholder string is missing from base SQL events. And so we are going to add this. So p extended eval statics placeholder values. We're going to treat the placeholders in a separate commit, and we're going to insert this commit in front. So the first order of business is to commit this in our intermediate commit here, and we are going to make a treatment of these placeholders, and we will need probably a test for them as well. So placeholders are so when a let's make an example of this. So if we have prepare a as select $1, sorry. And we say execute a of 123. We have here a $1 that is referring to a parameter that is going to be passed later. And the idea of this here is that it creates a variable, really, and the entire prepare statement becomes a kind of a function. And so the mapping of placeholders to actual values is going to be different on every execution of the execute statement. And that's what we are looking at here. And so currently those placeholders are not being reported in log file. So we are going to see that an action here. All right, so we have a lot of verbosity here. Now we're going to enable the SQL execution stats. How is that done again? There is SQL dot execute dot I don't remember how it's called. SQL log. Slow query? No. SQL defaults? No. SQL trace log statement execute. Let's do this. All right, so if I play select 1, 2, 3. I'm not seeing my statements. Oh my. It's not being logged. Well. All right, so demo doesn't know how to log these kind of things. I don't mind. We're going to start a node. Oh, silly me. We just disabled this Of course it doesn't work. Oh well, let's re-enable it temporarily just to make the case. Ahaha. So we can actually do the select thing here. All right. Right. Prepare. Execute. Huh? There we go. So what we see here in this line at the top here is that the mapping of $1 to the value 11 is reported here, and that is what this placeholder string is about. So naturally, if we are going to change this to become structured, where is this again? If we want to have a structured format for the entire log entries, that means that this mapping of placeholders to values needs to be structured as well. And so that is what we are going to need in the definition of the SQL events. So if I go to events.proto that is already defined, we have here a common SQL event details that contains the statement, user, descriptor, ID, application name. That currently misses the placeholders. That is going to be interesting. In a second. Cool. And then we are going to have a message here. This one is actually sensitive. Cool. It's going to be interesting, by the way, because this is probably not directly supported by proto. We don't need an include here, so this can live in a separate file. All right, and we are going to copy paste this here, and then we are going to mapping. All right. So this is expecting to complain because I think this JSON serialization code doesn't know how to. SQL binding is not defined. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, we need an additional import here. All right. So we have here an issue in the JSON generator, and that's completely fine. That was expected. That's because we have custom JSON generators that perform sensitive field substitution into the fields. And so we are going to make a special case for it here. Single binding. And now we have this, and it's not going to be a JSON array, it's going to be a JSON string. And then we have here something that is going to be a mapping string value. So we have here first say name of the placeholder. And this doesn't need to be escaped. Probably not even. All right. And so v dot placeholder placeholder quote colon. Oh, actually, let's do this like this. And now we have this. Oh, no, they're not reductible. Yeah, off we go. And marker. And then this, and then, and oh. So we actually have to do it with double quotes, unfortunately, because we're already in the context of backtick. All right, so it's going to be like this. Let's try this. Better. So we can now check in this file how the events are going to look. Sorry, SQL audit events.pb.go. No, it's JSON and code. I don't know where to look. So placeholders, and that's the code that has been generated. So if we have some placeholder bindings, that means that we are going to iterate through them, and every placeholder is going to be mapped to its value with a JSON string and injected into a mapping in JSON. And so we'll have our placeholder information properly represented. And that means that now we can structure that in the common facility that is shared by all the statement logging, and that is in, say, SQL event log.go. This contains a copy of the statement here. And so we are going to say if, and that's going to be, oh, that's going to be interesting. Statement here. Placeholders go. You know which type is this? 3. Okay. For PL val placeholders. Okay, so actually that's an array. Oh, that's an array. So if it's an array, we actually, oh, the placeholders are already starting from 1, so we actually don't need to have a map. We can have an array directly. Oh, that is so cool. All right. So I retract my argument from earlier. And so all this here is garbage and we don't need it, right? This one I don't need. Events.proto, and here we are going to be values. Cool. Cool. I'm going to be a string. And we are going to say x placeholders string. Cool. And that might actually be sufficient. It's going to maybe be sufficient for getting, say, placeholder information in the event log. It's going to fail probably because we added an argument to this function, but it's not being provided here. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So let's go here. And so statement be extended to develop. Oh, I am getting a phone call. I'll be back in a minute. All right, phone call has been averted. Oh, if I call back, we'll come back to it as well. All right. Cool. Continue. Placeholder values, I think it's called now. Okay, I accept this. Maybe the type of placeholders here is not the one I had thought. Placeholders. Not values. Ah, that's better. So we actually don't need this binding thing anymore. We don't need this util thing anymore. We are going to remove this import, which is not needed anymore. And then we're going to try it out. Cluster setting, execute. Well, it's not too bad actually. So I have here update. I have a lot of statements with values here, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. How do I create a statement that will have an event? Oh, but maybe with this new table logging that is now implemented. Yeah, this one. Okay. Table T. All right. First of all, quiet this. Advance this. And new. Create table tx8 alter table set experimental set. How does this work? How does this work again? Experimental audit. Oh my gosh. Okay. Try again. Rewrite. Oh. That's what I wrote. Oops. Experimental audit. Alter. Oh, alter table T. Thank you. Now I can say prepare a int as insert into tx values 1. Oh. Reset. Deallocate. Thank Thank you. Prepare. Oh, prepare. Execute. There we go. All right, so that is all format. And now we are going to use a new format. Again, create table, alter table, set read write, insert, execute. There we go. A structured entry that has more or less the format we wanted. So the placeholder values have, for the first variable, the value 111, and it's structured. Structured JSON. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy about this. So we see here clearly the statement mentions $1 and then placeholder values 111. So beautiful. This actually deserves a separate PR. So we need to actually file this in a separate commit as well. So this goes to a separate commit. We stash this. Check out master B2118 log placeholders. Git stash pop. Of course, there is some conflict. I don't mind that. And that's because in the other PR we have one additional parameter. Yeah. Big deal. So let's go OK. And then event log.md here needs to be regenerated. I think it was now. Let's see. Yep, it looks like it. And now we can commit all this. SQL ensures that placeholders are logged alongside statements in structured events. Include placeholders alongside statements in structured events. All right. When a statement uses placeholders in order to get a full picture, we need to see the placeholders alongside. The statement. This was missing previously. Placeholders value are now included alongside statements in structured events. Cool. Cool. We will need a test for this though. That will come in a little while. However, how does this look like? Yeah, so I was actually concerned with what I just saw for another reason. So suppose audit, prepare, execute. We get this here. So I'm concerned because I don't see reduction markers here, but that's because the entry as a whole is not reductible. All right, so let's start a server and do the same. Create table, audit, insert, execute, logs, cockroach data, logs, cockroach SQL audit. What does it say? All right. I was expecting a structured event here. Why don't I get one? Boo. Why did I not get a structured event? Oh, because I'm in separate PR now. This one. Okay. Cool. So, how do I create a structured event in the existing set of events? Probably with a grant statement. Oh, with a class setting. With a class setting. So, prepare b bool set cluster setting, and then probably we want to have our previous class setting that was set before. I don't remember how it's called. Oh, well, foo is one. No, it does want the class settings. It's fine. Okay, let's take some class setting. All right. All right. Execute. Off we go. And now we are going to del not SQL audit, but SQL log. Because now we get what we need here. Placeholder value is false. Okay, so the value here is properly escaped into reduction markers, as indicated by the reduction indicator. There will be a blog post on the Cockroach blog today that will talk about this. All right. So before we are going to write a unit test for this, we are going to create a PR to kick a CI run on the code change. And see if there are any tests that are failing as a result. It will probably give us an intuition about what part of the code needs to be updated for adding a unit test. We'll see in a second. Anyway, so while this is running, it's been 1 hour since we started, and as usual, after 1 hour work, it's important to take a break and extend muscles and move a little bit and hydrate. So we're going to take a little break, a few minutes, and we will resume maybe 5 minutes from now, a little bit after a quarter to the hour. See you then. And welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice break. We are going to resume this by looking first at whether our oh, interesting. I have a technical difficulty with the camera. I think that the light went off as a result of the camera turning off. Let's see if we get an image back. Seems like I do. But we also see that I have my entire configuration that broke. So let's try to zoom this configuration probably. That needs to be automated at some point. Let's see, there is a script that also helps with adjusting the configuration. Framing is not exactly right. Let's fix that. Cool. Better. Better. All right. All right. So the CI run is starting here. All right. Wow. We don't have a unit test that checks whether experimental audit logs have all their placeholders, actually. Well, that's interesting. So what we want here is to see an example statement in the logs. We might have to type in this this test, in fact. Oh, not exact log, sorry, event log. Right. So there's a little of a dance to play to write a test properly here. So what we want in generalize, start a server, force creation of a log entry that's structured, and look at the log file for the results. And so it's likely that we're going to use our set classes setting as a statement, and then we are going to verify that the log file contains what we want, and we are going to do this by reusing pieces of code that have been written elsewhere. In particular, a piece of code that's been written for the SQL testing. So maybe I will be lucky and be able to copy paste server code here. So we need a after test leak. Then we have this. And then we are going to not care about the configuration here because we are going to have the operational logs that are already included in the default directory. Then we have this. No. We have start server. And we don't need the server args, very probably to be defined anything but the defaults. And then we are going to run some statement. Via the connection that is given here. And that is done with con.exec, I think, right? Is exec properly defined? Probably. I'm not getting a highlight on this. I think that the core language server has given up. I don't remember how it works, so we are going to set this. Right. And then first let's take a class of settings that doesn't have a class settings that doesn't have really an impact. Something that's innocuous. Say default inside. Make a prepared statement that changes a cluster setting. We want a cluster, a prepared statement verifies that the reporting of placeholders works during execute, and we don't care about the particular cluster setting, any settings that does not otherwise impact the test semantics will do. Right, so int, and then this one, and then make this like this, and then this, and then right. If you can, this is one of my favorite songs these days from Wintergate in Sweden. If you go and watch the music of the Marble Machine from, I think, 2016 or something, it's just gorgeous. Cool. All right. All right. And now we are going to observe the log file as a result of executing this. Cool. And how do we read the log files? We're going to copy paste some piece of code from logging here. The code entry log. Oh, yeah. Okay. And what was the name of the file for cluster setting here? That's going to be event log. Cool. All right. And so we're going to have here some okay. And now just log this and see how far we get with this test so far. The test passes because there is no failure, but we actually want to get the detail of the log entries to see that we actually see our cluster setting inside. That doesn't seem right. There is no entry logged for this here. Not great. That is not great. And why is this the case? We're going to make the test fail arbitrarily. This way we are guaranteed that the results of the test, the log file for the test, are still preserved, and so we can go and inspect them, because successful tests don't get their log files retained. All right, so we do have our structured entry here, so it is there, but it's not getting picked up by this here. And the reason for this is because we haven't flashed the log file yet. Cool. And now we have our entry here. That is absolutely great. And we are going to search for it. Found entries false. Not strings, not contains. Same default inside. No, it's a cluster setting. Let's go for this. Continue. On entry is true. If not found, t.error. Structured entry for set cluster setting not found in log. Go. And now we are going to process this entry to check that it looks right. We need to strip, so this prefix here is a bit annoying, and thankfully it has been removed in a separate PR. It's not merged yet, but it will be fixed eventually. So we are going to link to this PR that is doing it. Oh, actually, can do it in a single line actually, because the okay. Okay. And now we're going to unmarshal, say, payload into an event, which is going to be event pb.set cluster setting, and then JSON.unmarshal if Why is this event PB is not defined? Should be. Yeah, it is defined. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely defined. So how is JSON.unmarshal defined? Actually, don't remember. Byte and then. Okay, it looks better. Okay. And then we are going to check the placeholders and the statement. What does the statement look like, in fact? It looks like this. And so cool. Now we need to check that say statement is not equal to set statement. right? Redact is a package that we need to include. I don't know why it's not included automatically, but I don't care. I know how to work with that. And it is going to be string this, and then we are going to do something about the placeholders. If expected is going to be string redact dot print of what was the name? 8. Ah, 8. ev dot placeholders len of e of placeholders not 1. Oh, actually, not reflect, sorry. Yeah, reflect that deep equal holder values. All placeholders expected. Got oh. And the test passes. And if I were to put a wrong value here, I'll get an error. Yep. All right, so we have a unit test for our statement and placeholders. Access. Let's look at how far CI has brought us. Doesn't seem to fail anywhere, so we're just going to push this test and assume that this works fine. Cool. All right. Unit test for the placeholder data is now complete. So now we will have placeholder information in our structure events, which was not the case before, and that is quite the improvement. And that means that we have feature parity for the audit. Come on. V2? No. I don't remember which branch we were at before. Audit events too. Which we can now rebase on the one we just created. Conflict. I'm okay with that. We knew it would happen, given that we know that we needed to add an event here. Right, that is last conflict, I think. Yes. Cool. And now we have our placeholders in the audit logs as well. And we are going to check this. Create table. Oh, I want to have a log is things stdr channels. Create table, alter, insert, execute. Oh, dang. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay. And then we are going to say there, execute. And we have it. We succeeded. Placeholder here. Structured entry. Sensitive table access. Placeholder is here. Success. Success has been reached for this part. Cool. Cool. Let's kill this file that doesn't need it anymore. Slow query log reason. Table scan full secondary index scan. Do we want the query age to be logged with the statement? Yep, seems right. All right, we are going even to spread the event because we want to log events not just for sensitive table access, but also for the SQL slow query and so on. So all these query logging should go through a set of common things here. So we are going to have kind of message common SQL exec details. Okay. Contains field comment to all bugs. Cool. So that will contain the exec mode, number of rows, whether there was an error. Text of the error, if any. So 1, 2, 3. Whether it was an error is a safe bit of data. And the number of rows is as well. Also, arguably, yeah, we don't need this because booleans and integers are considered to be safe for reporting by default. So that is good. And the error text is not, but it's not going to be included by default either. And placeholders, statement, and so on, everything there is already being logged elsewhere. And we are going to add the missing bits now, which are probably the age of the query and the number of retries, if known. Then the execution label. Label is exec mode, we already have it. Application name is already embedded. The age, okay. What is the age? It's an age of the query. And then we have, say, number of our retries. I don't know exactly how the num retries is being populated. Num retries? Where is it? I don't... interesting. Maybe log statements. Here, num retries. It's not here. Oh, it is. Auto retry counter. Auto retry. All right. Tries. See. Retry. Automatically. Okay. Okay. So that is going to be a uint 32, I suppose. Yeah, so we're not exactly bound by the order here, are we? It's okay. Let's oh, float is not defined. What is a float type in protobuf? Is there a float type? Oh, I don't remember that. Protobuf floating points. Yes. Documentation. Ah, fixed. No. Oh, float. Just float. And double. I see. Alright, so that means that the code generator was incorrect here, wasn't it? Float. Double. Then we're going to have append float. This. And fingers crossed that it's valid to include a float like this directly. We'll see. Cool. And now we can remove this and add this exec details 3, 4, 5. Cool. Cool. So, exec details is event pb.common score details, and it's going to be exec mode is a label, right? And we have num rows is unit 64 rows. Then we have there and nil. Then we have error text. That is a exec str. Access name. All right. And then we have h is the h. Then we have num retries is num retries. Where's the event which to around it? Float 64. I think it's already float. Is it possible? Is it possible? Yeah, it's already float 64. We don't need to convert this. All right. And then we have exec mode, error, blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to be comments, call exec details. Cool. All right. And now we need to auto regenerate the code because it's not been updated yet with our new directives. It's complaining. Oh yeah. Exec. So I need more arguments here. So I have value, float, format, precision, bit size. I don't know how to do this. Oh yeah, I see. It's a format. Okay, I don't remember this, but we are going to check this. Printf formats. It's a character. It's either G or F. Scientific notation. I don't think I want this. No exponent. Large exponents. Need F actually. All right. Format byte. Precision. How much precision do I want? I don't know actually. Whew. Oh, I do know, actually. I want maximum 6. We have a microsecond precision. Yes. But I'm currently editing generated code. That's not great. All right. So we need to modify this here. Then F. Then I need some. Way. we're going to go and look at the source code of the Go runtime here, because I actually don't remember how to convert, how to avoid deciding precision. I really would prefer if the thing was yeah, -1. F, no, not here. F -1, 10. And a bit size. One's bit size. Well, it's great when code generators work. Poof. Poof. What does this say now? When float. Oh. Precision bit. Cool. Cool. Table name, age, exec mode, exec, age, 2 seconds. 2 seconds, my, that doesn't seem right. Table name T, access mode RW, I don't mind that. That is fine. But it's not great that the age is so many milliseconds. Think that the age is not expressed in seconds. Nanoseconds divided by milliseconds. There we go. It's better. And now we can express this in milliseconds. Yeah, people usually care about milliseconds more. They care about seconds for SQL queries. Queries that would last a second would be kind of a problem. And that means that we probably do not care about double either, which means that we can change the precision here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Exists. Cool. Cool. All right. All right, so we have simplified this here. Now we are going to do the remainder of the logging. We will need to process the audit events here. I think it's currently already being done. Yes. just one event per table that's being touched by the query. This is very good. So all this logic doesn't need to exist anymore. And then the next thing here will be the query log. Okay, so we have our framework here. The next step, now we have the audit logging converted, is to convert the regular SQL query logging to the new format as well. So this entire if here is going to be converted to the new format in a second. Cool. And then we'll end by probably adding a new configuration system afterwards. All right, so it's been another hour, and so it is time for another break. So again, maybe 5 minutes, a little bit more. We're going to reconvene at the latest in 5 to 10 minutes before 1/4 to the hour. See you later. All right, we are back. Let's see what we can make of this. We are going to copy this to the debug log, and we are going to simplify this. Go. And now copy those things as separate events. So we're going to come back to this little query in a second. Log reason is at the end, so we need to add that in our event in a second. The SQL perf logger. we go. Right, so as a log reason, we are going to come back to this in a second, but that's not, we can't log to a channel this way, so it's not this way that it works. So this is sensitive access, so this is going to go to events.log. Actually, we could have this. Right. So we will need a reason there in a minute, but oops. Off we go. All right. So, and we need to have a different category, I think. So where are the channels defined again? Call exec. Okay. Cool. Now we have a log reason. We are going to temporarily ignore just to test this feature now. Okay. Seg. Good. We get a structured entry slow query mode exact number rows. But I don't see the statement in here. So that's just kind of a bummer, isn't it? And that is because we need to use this facility here. But it's not a table name, so we can't use the facilities that does something with a table. So descriptor ID is going to be 0, probably. And then it's going to be this one. Okay, cool. So take this and we introduce it here. Try this again. Off we go. Slow query, statement, application name, rows, age, 1 second. Cool. many retries. That's exactly what we want. That is cool. That is very cool. Oh, SQL state. We want a SQL state for the error. Instead of all this here, instead of a boolean for the error, we're going to have a SQL state. Much better. Much better. So it's going to be here. It's going to be a string. You have this already somewhere, right? Here. I like this. Cool. And that means that we are going to populate a SQL state underneath. Exec log here, and we don't have an error here. And that is it. Better. SQL state. String access. Cool. SQL state. SQL state 401. That is cool. That is very cool. We didn't have this information before. Oh, that is so cool. The age. Oh my. I think that we never saw this sequence of log entries printed this way before. People are going to be happy about this, I predict. Nice. All right. Well, this looks quite good, actually. We made a lot of progress. I think we converted all the things we wanted. So we did this. Well, it was not a function, actually. Block. So I did this. And we haven't done really this. Okay, so now we want to do the configuration thingy. We're going to do a cluster setting, probably. It's what this file is already doing for many other things. So we are going to add this. instructed. And it is going to be a pool setting. SQL execution and audit logs use the pre-construct format. And we will see it's going to be false by default. And I wonder if there is a way to declare the setting already deprecated ahead of time. Nope. Nope. All right, and we are going to check this setting now. Oh, well, first we need to use it. Okay. And now we are going to change the format. And then we use the older format. All right. So structured entries, cool. All right. All righty. So what are we missing? We're missing this latency threshold motivation here. So there might be multiple reasons combined. Interesting. Interesting. Actually, we are going to report. We're going to report those flags in every situation. Oh, we are absolutely going to report that in every situation because people will want to go see this in every query. Oh, that is going to be so cool. All right, all right, all right. So, Boolean flags. call. And now we have exec log here. So it's going to be full table scan. And that is going to be sys. Then we have sys. And then we're going to have this. And now we are going sloker reason. And the reason, we don't need that here actually. So do we want to log? And so it's going to be if exec details dot full table scan or exec details dot full index scan, or we have this, and then this is what we get here. Oh, this is already cool. All right. And so the slow query log reason we don't need anymore. I don't see this. I really wish that my query here was printed. So we want here that say slow query log is enabled. Oh, it's not enabled. Okay. And all right. So Cool. How is this setting defined? Say whether the slow query log enabled. Oh, it's a slow log threshold. And then show query log full table scans. That is really an odd condition. I'll accept this. All right, so if the slow query log is enabled and like this, and then we can try it. Create table, and then set cluster setting, and then select. Oh, because okay. We still need that special setting, which is this one. This. And then we have it. There we go. Full table scan is true. Oh, that is so cool. Although table name here is not qualified very well. That is a kind of a problem. Oh my. That's kind of a bummer. But nevertheless, we get the data we want. All right. That does mean that we need to adjust the definition here. Whether, all right. To access. Condition. This writing a query trigger. The condition requires the cluster setting. Set to a non-zero value and either of the following condition. The actual age of the query exceeds the configured threshold and or the query performs a full table or index scan. All right. Slow internal query log enabled. and say cluster setting, and then we have the other one here, which is this one. See the documentation for the event type slow query for details about slow query condition. And then the other throw look statement execute. Where is statement execute? All right, so we have here CI failure from earlier, and we see here some event log failure. We are going to address this in a minute. Log, event log generated. And we have an entire section here added. Cool. And now we can work on a commit message. Okay. Convert SQL audit and execution log to a structured this commit converts say logging output for SQL audit logs and query logs to use a new logging infrastructure. Say three main. So let's not just listen out. Change. CockroachDB now use a structured logging format for the SQL audit, execution, and query logs. See reference documentation for details. In particular, say documentation. No. Okay. Of note, audit and execution logs also contain information about whether a query plan include information contain full index scans. Previously, this information was only included in slow query log. Now we have a backward compatible change. Say logging format for SQL audit execution query log has changed from an unstructured flat space from a crude format to JSON crude. To opt out of this new behavior and preserve, say, and restore the pre-logging format, you can set, say, cluster settings SQL.log.constructed and entries made to true. And we are going also to explain something about what? Seems right. Cool. Cool. Oops. Oops. I think I made a boo-boo. There we go. Spelling mistake for, say, query logs plural. Cool. Now we are going to fix, say, failure in this branch. Expected and found. So we see here that there is a different set of outputs. it is to do with the fact that now we have placeholders. And so with placeholders, we are getting different formats. So that's okay. Now let's see what this says. Oh, also we need to so it's just one line here that has changed because we are using a class setting using a placeholder. So we did have a test for this before, but it wasn't using redaction markers. So, all right. This and then this. I think there's nothing here that matters. It doesn't. And commit this. Let's see. Is that the only thing that failed? Let's see. Test logic. Yeah, it looks like it. Ooh. Okay, so this one is changed, and now we're going to rebase this one. Cool. Cool. All right. And that fixes the issue that we have created at the beginning of the session. And that is this one. Oops. Ta-da! All right, so after 3 hours of work, we have solved this issue. So interesting learning experience to this kind of unit of work for me. Because it's 3 hours, breaks included, and it was kind of straightforward with a little detour through fixing a shortcoming in the previous implementation. Things that I think it's worth looking for the review now and see what the reviewer will think about this. We'll see. Cool. So that was the issue we had today. Convert the logging that was happening in those log files to a structured format. And on the way, we discovered that the placeholder values for queries were not logged alongside statements, and so we had to add that. And then we could do the conversion, and now we have these slow audits and execution log use a structured format, and more or less addresses the need. So we're kind of done, and that means that we can take this one here, and then take our meta issue that's kind of an epic here, and then mark this as done. And the placeholder values are also done. Oh, actually there's one more just done here. That's great. Ta-da! All right, so that is also done. Oh. Placeholders, long statements, and structured events. Not this one. Oh yeah, this is one. All right. All right. Then we have the admin user logging, which might happen offline, off stream. Lots of achievements today. Oh my gosh. Impressive. Cool. Well, it looks like this project will come to an end soon. And then we will turn that page until later. Cool. Now, thank you for watching. Thank you for attending. This was a bit longer than usual, but I like the fact that we were able to go from beginning to end. And so, yeah. Now, have a great day, everyone, and we will see each other next Monday. Goodbye.